Afternoon Talk on SAFM.
Right, so time now for In the Spotlight. And as you know, every afternoon we put somebody in the spotlight. We certainly do. By the way, tomorrow is Peter Kirsten, the South African cricketer, the brother of Gary Kirsten. But Peter's a legend in his own right, isn't he? Yes, I think he was the star player when South Africa played in that very first Cricket World Cup in 1992. Probably the top run scorer. If not for South Africa, certainly is probably in the entire tournament as well. I stand to be corrected onto one. Anyway, so he's going to be my guest in the spotlight tomorrow. But today, it's Pearl Thusi, who everybody says that you're the person they want to meet. So I wonder why. But thanks for coming in and allowing us to put you in the spotlight.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I'm hearing who you're going to have tomorrow. I'm like, wow, I'm in the same range. So I'm quite honored to be here.
Indeed,
thank you.
Now, talk to me about. Lots of people. You're involved in media. I know that you're a former model. You're doing acting, right, etc., etc. But there are hundreds of other people who do the same things. There's nothing. I'm not saying that it's not special. It's important. But what sets you apart? Because there's we've had lots of emails from people saying, please get Pearl on. And
really?
So what sets you apart that sort of says, hold it, I'm somebody you need to sort of have a closer look at?
Let me start here. I'm a Christian. And there's a lot of things that I say and do that are based on that I believe make me tangible, and make me real. And there's a certain energy that I think comes with that really touches people. So I think it's the honesty and just, I'm very bubbly, I'm very fun. I'm not trying to be perfect. There's a big obsession right now in the industry with people trying to be perfect for endorsements, for all sorts of things that they want to have. And I really don't subscribe that much to that. As long as I'm being natural and reaching out and touching people, it's another side of what I want to do.
But isn't that problematic? Because I understand what you're saying. If you're perfect, then you're maybe not natural. But if you're not perfect, then maybe you're not the commodity that
it's very interesting. Yeah, I see what you mean.
How do you balance the two then?
I think there's and this is going to sound very terrible, but I look at a lot if I compare Rihanna and Beyonce. Rihanna is still, if the talent is there, you're still a commodity. If you're talented and if you work hard, it's still okay. She will do whatever she feels like in public because she's still young. And then there's Beyonce, who's got that image of perfection, but now she's countered that with this blog of hers where she shows more sensitive parts of her life and things that she goes through and shares it through her music and what she does, because it's very dangerous to put yourself on a pedestal. One day you will fall and you'll fall hard and everybody's going to leave you. Look at Tiger Woods, if I must even address that. So I think there must be some sort of balance. I haven't perfected that yet. I'm just being me. But as I'm growing and as I'm becoming a bigger part of this industry, I'm working on that strategy. But what I do make sure I do is be natural and be honest with people and myself.
This is what's interesting, and let me just invite people as well. If you want to call in, please do so. 0891 104 207. My name's Ashraf Garda, but my guest, more importantly, is Pearl Thusi. She's in the spotlight for the next 45 minutes or so. What's interesting is you use the word strategy, because for many people on the outside who are not in this industry, they somehow think things just
happen.
So did things not just happen for you? There was a strategy.
No, I can't even call it a strategy. I think now I have to strategize because there's a lot happening. I can't just be riding on a wave. But before, it was all based on passion and love, and it was a hobby that I just really enjoyed doing. And I realized, okay, I can actually make something out of this. So you go to auditions, as many as you possibly can, because maybe only 2 out of 10 or 1 out of 10 you'll get. At the beginning, it's grabbing every opportunity and exploiting it as hard as you can, as much as you can. And then as you get on, now you have to build, and I hate saying this, but building a brand. Yeah. You're a brand.
Are you a brand?
I'm a person. Everything, I guess, has some sort of branding to it. Like the lady with the sponsorship has to have a motherly thing about her, so people want to come to her shop, or even, I don't know, but now I'm strategizing because I'm realizing that this is actually serious. At the beginning, you're young and you're just having fun. But as you get older, there's bills to pay. I've got a kid to feed. So I must strategize and build something that I can maintain, sustain, and even grow. So, yeah.
And you are a brand. Just checking.
Yeah, I am building a brand. I'm building something that can be invested in, and something that can touch people and do something amazing in people's lives.
All right. Tell us, what are you involved in now, as it stands?
Right now, I actually started my own, work-wise. I'm doing RGB. I'm currently on Zone 14. I'm still doing a lot of modeling because the opportunity is right there. I'm on the cover of 3 magazines, 1 online. So those are the things.
This is all in this last month?
This is all this month is 3 magazines, and then all through the year, the last 2 years I've been working on Zone 14 was last year, RGB's this year. And then I'm raising a child right now, and that's really touched me when I think about single mothers. So I'm always tweeting about single mothers, getting involved in conversation about that. And then I have a company that I'm running with David Gao and Zengit Bunta. It's a modeling agency. We have hostesses, we have models, and we have characters that we basically, try and get into commercials and stuff. But what I really wanted to do, which I am doing, is a model institute. So I basically use my company and the institute that I created to groom young girls and to teach them about things that I never got the opportunity to learn. My parents weren't, educated somewhere else. We were not living hand to mouth, but it was that kind of situation.
So what you're saying is for the thousands of models that come through, and obviously the very best will reach the top.
Yes.
But even then, there's very little mentorship that actually takes place? No?
Yes. So there's no mentorship in grooming them. Like, for example, I work with a company that comes into a bank that teaches them about money and nobody taught me that. I had to realize that actually I have to do this. Then I bring other models to come and teach them how to walk, how to pose, all those basic things that a model needs to learn, etiquette, but mainly these other things where I'm like, you have to learn about money, how to deal and handle yourself in front of a client. Those things are really important. And
do they know that it's a business? I mean, meaning that they obviously have a flair for it, and they like the attention, and they wear nice clothing. And
people just want to be in magazines and be on TV.
So they don't understand that. Well, there are brands that this is a career. That
as a model, you actually are a tool for somebody to sell something that they've invested in. And if you don't take that seriously when you get to the job, you're not going to make people happy, and the agency might even end up looking bad that represents you. So you have to take that very seriously. Somebody is taking their brand, putting your face next to it, and because they wanted to sell. You might have a beautiful face, but if you have no understanding of what you're doing and how you need to use it to move your life forward, you're going to fail.
Okay, we are chatting to Pearl Thusi, putting her in the spotlight. So someone's saying I should just post a picture of you. I wonder why.
That's awkward.
You do know that somebody else asked whether you're single. You want to answer that question? You probably should anyway.
I don't mind answering that question. When I have to sign forms, I'm not married, so regardless of whether I've got a boyfriend or not, I still have to tick the single box. So that's how I'm going to answer.
Whatever that means. That's very clever. Here's an interesting one, and in this industry you get all sorts of questions. Is she mixed race, or is she just naturally very light?
I think I'm going to answer this question for a long time.
Okay. Thought she was coloured when I first saw her on TV. And the answer? The
answer is she's not coloured. She is black. She's a Zulu girl. I'm from KwaZulu-Natal. Ngikhuluma Zulu, yabon, also ezwakalayo. So let me explain this, and please, guys, you need to get this now. Spread the word. On my dad's side, 5 generations ago, there was a woman who was of mixed race. Obviously, situation back then, and people kind of got hints of her genes, but I'm the one who just popped out of nowhere and looked most like, I'm not even close. Her hair was like straight and long. Really? Okay. And my family, like some of them will have nice hair or bushy eyebrows or just like have a lot of hair around them or be a little bit light. But I just got everything and I look completely different, which, has raised people's eyebrows, but I know who my parents are.
so the fact that you are looking the way you are, it's probably an oddball, right? Even in your own community, besides even getting onto TV. How much of that was an issue for you, where it probably could be advantageous, but also be problematic, where
it was difficult.
Growing up, you didn't know how to handle it. What are these guys going on about here?
It was so difficult. Not even with the people themselves, with the kids. They were very hard on me. I don't know if you've read Madonna of Excelsior by Zex Mda. That book made me understand what I went through, because I didn't really understand. I kind of blocked it out, There was a kid who called me a white cockroach.
Okay. Wow.
So I was like, you're a brown cockroach? Yeah. So there were just things that were said that were unnecessary. And then I think it was only when I got to high school that I realized all these people want to look like me. They want to be lighter. They want to have bushy hair. And then the people who are paler than I want to have my hair and they want to tan and look like me. Everybody step on
You're
up
perfect.
and appreciate me.
so now, and now how much of an issue is it now?
No, it's not an issue. I mean, I think it's like people who had freckles before who model now, or you had a mole, like Cindy Crawford made something awesome of it. Now it's something that's celebrated and used. I'm this light girl who can speak Zulu, so I have an advantageous kind of position where I can be part of a zone 14 because I am from a township, yet I look like this, which introduces a very interesting aspect to the show. And when I do RGB, I do it in Zulu, but then I've still got this funny look, which intrigues people, which is fun. I'm not the only one like this. I guess I'm the only one who has used it more than anyone else.
Okay, because I mean, you're quite right in terms of this industry. If you get pigeonholed as only doing one thing, that's problematic. The fact that you are what you are means you actually can be that chameleon. And I'm talking about it now.
I was a chameleon as a kid.
Were you?
Yeah, I had to be. I went to a colored school. I wasn't colored. I had to fit in. I went to an Indian school. I wasn't Indian, which is kind of better, but I've just used to fitting in. And then in the township, I wasn't black enough, but I had to make myself black enough. You know, I wanted to relax my hair like the other kids. It was difficult. So the whole chameleon thing is even working for me now.
Okay. So it turned out okay. Fine. Yeah. Right. Pearl Thusi with me. Besides, if you want to call us, one of people try to call in and dropped it, but if you want to do that, you certainly can do so. But that's to 0891 104207. SMS is 3471. It's going to cost you R2. There are some people commenting on my Facebook page. I'll pick out a couple of them as well. And then also on Twitter, Ashraf Garda 1. Use the hashtag Afternoon Talk as well if you do so. Let's then go back in terms of your own career. When did you know growing up that you had this type of talent? You know, the presenting, modeling, acting talent, which means you could be a personality in the broader entertainment industry. There must be a moment.
The moment came when I did Miss SA-teen. All along, I just wanted to be a vet. I wanted to work as a wildlife vet, and that's all I wanted to ever do. Then I watched Karishni Naika win Miss SA. Then I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I entered Miss SA-teen just because somebody was like, I'm driving there, I'm entering, do you want to come? I came along, and then I ended up making it through. So it was then, you know, I was on TV, there were cameras. It was so exciting, but I wasn't even aspiring to be anything like that. It just, I saw the opportunity, tried it out, loved it, and decided I'm going to try and do this again and again and again. It wasn't, like I said, there wasn't a strategy. It was just
so your initial ambition was certainly not to get into this industry.
No,
when you were growing up.
No, it opened. I always say modeling opened its arms to me and said, "Come here, my child." Came along, was like, "Oh, this is fine," but it was hard work. But the industry was very accepting of me. But I just had to work for it. And then I came to Johannesburg, and I joined Wits. I was studying drama and media, and that's when I obviously was following the acting passion. I studied drama in high school. That's when I really knew I wanted to be an actress. Presenting was something that was just there until I realized that this is actually a very challenging thing to do. Let me see if I can do it. So yeah, that's how it kind of developed. I always answer this question of how did I make the transition. For me, it was never a transition. I always was a presenter as soon as I realized I wanted to present.
Because I was reading some of the notes. You made a very interesting distinction between the role of an actor and the role of a presenter, right? How do you describe it?
An actor, for me, sometimes when I'm presenting, I'm still acting. You know what I mean? And even when I'm modeling, I call modeling acting and static. Presenting, sometimes you have to make something, something that's probably vaguely interesting, like a phone book, and make it sound interesting for people to listen. And then acting is just being somebody totally different and getting into totally different shoes. It's a big difference. This is me pretending to be somebody else, but realistically. And then presenting is being in a real situation and making it interesting for people. So that's how I differentiate the two. And they're both fun. I don't know.
Right. Let's see. There's some tweets I want to pick up on. If I can. Okay, in fact, I'll do that just in a second or two. We are chatting to Pearl Thusi. There's a whole lot more I want to know about your status, relationship. That's another show. But Sia saying,
oh wow.
So Tebs are saying, Ashraf, I've got a huge crush on her. Okay,
wow. Hello.
You probably know that anyway. Sia saying she deserves a better, this is interesting, she deserves a better show than the RGB, which is sensational. And then, of course, saying something which I think everybody knows it. Is it true that she has a child with Walter Mokoena?
Yes, I do have a child with Walter Mokoena. It's interesting how this whole topic of Walter Mokoena has just come up.
But it doesn't go away, isn't it?
It's not going away. And it's really weird for me because all along, Walter was always there. And then when I suddenly did something for myself, Walter is now an issue. And I think it's because we have a child. If we didn't have a child, it would be a by the way, maybe. But, it's fine. It's okay. ideal. That he's my daughter's father. He's a great father, and we had a great relationship. And now we don't have that kind of relationship. Now we're a team for a child relationship. So I don't know why it's still there, but it's there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about a few other things in your life. I mean, you chatted to Miss Earth South Africa on the way out, right? Temran Jardine, the newly crowned, and you certainly made a point outside of emphasizing your interest in Earth issues. You want to just talk about that? I mean, amongst the issues that are closest to your heart.
Yeah, we did something together. We did an economy run with cars and stuff. I shouldn't mention too many things, and we got to speak there. And I saw her now again. I didn't realize she had won, and so I was telling her, and I was like, I'm a big Earth fanatic, and I love animals. Like I said, I wanted to be a vet, so the issues that affect animals are also very important to me. And so I was just saying to her, one of the things that I try and do it at home alone, but there's no time, is to try and recycle stuff. So, for example, my dogs eat only organic food. So they will eat banana peels. They only eat organic food because I'm not trying to waste that food, or I'll throw it in the garden for it to be as manure. But then there's the plastics and the bottles and the tins that it's really difficult to find a place to get it recycled. So I was just saying to her, maybe she can help find a way that's more convenient for people to do that, so that it's not a stress for only the ones in the know. So those are one of the things. And then the rhino poaching really is like sad for me. I hate zoos. I prefer like a place like Lion Park, and there's another place there in Midrand. I forgot the name. I think it's a bird
to roam
park.
out in the wild. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to talk lots more about other issues besides animals that are close to your heart. What sort of bugs you and irritates you about the country? Anything. We'll do that with Pearl Thusi in the spotlight right after.
This is SAFM.
Right, this is important as well. Lots of important issues that we need to cover. Now, SAFM, of course, together with the Young Women in Business Network. You can join the two, at the 3rd Annual Women in Business Summit. It happens on Friday as well as on Saturday at the Birchwood Hotel in Equator Lane. And there's an absolute who's who of names involved, I can tell you now, not to be missed here. Let me run through some of them. Johanna Makoki, who I had in the spotlight a couple of weeks ago, who owns she's in the travel industry business, right? Together with Lulama Makhoba of the SABC, Judy Lamini, Wendy Ackerman, Baleka Mbete as well. To book a seat, the website is ywbn.coza, Otherwise, the email address info@ywbn.coza. And you can also call in 011 047 0939 011 047 0939. Now, SFM as well as and the Arts Alive team brings you BOPA. Good intentions are famous for paving the road to hell, but more often they just lead to well-meaning tedium. That's the case with a surprising drama about a black South African family destroyed by apartheid in the 1980s. 1980, in fact. So BOPA is a Zulu word that means arrest to the previous South African police and resist to the country's black population. The production is based on Percy Mtwa's semi-autobiographical play about the conflicts between a black policeman, his brother, and the policeman activist's son. I can say more. I think the plan is for you to go and watch it. Now, you can win tickets to see BOPA at the Soweto Theatre, which happens this Saturday, the 1st of September. All you have to do is SMS BOPA, I'll spell it for you, BOPHA, followed by your name to 34766. So 34766. SMS is charged at R1.50. SAFM, your news and information leader.
Afternoon Talk on SAFM.
Right, so Pearl Thusi in the spotlight with me, TV presenter, actress, model agent as well, and other ideas, right? Just complete this. I love it when South Africans do what?
Stand together for a worthy cause. I always think about how the youth of today are kind of aimless and very driven as individuals only. If we, I think of 1976 because it's the easiest reference. Those people those young people had something to stand and unite for, and today we're struggling to find something to stand together and unite for.
So what's a worthy cause now for you? I mean, if you could mobilize the nation, and I know doing a TV show there's a clear plan from an executive producer. You don't have the right to do what you want, but assuming you had, okay, and you could do what you like and rally an entire nation behind you to stand behind the cause, what would that be?
What I've already spoken about, kind of South Africa and Africa as a whole, standing up and saying, hey, let us be Africans. Let us be who we are. Let us not adopt America and Europe only and dress like them, speak like them, buy things like them. It's just, for me. China does their own thing. They've taken things from the other nations, but use them for their advantage. But they still have their own values inherent in their system. And sometimes it's negative, but I think there's a lot of positive in it as well. I see India. When you go to India, hey man, not everybody's going to be speaking English there, but here it's like a big thing. Why can't there be a Zulu, being taught in school from the very beginning, like English, Zulu, and Afrikaans, or a child in class 1 can have the option, because I'm struggling with my child to make sure that she understands Zulu because she spent so much time at school. So that's one of the things where let's be African and let's sell Africa to the world. Let's not have the world selling Africa to itself. Beyonce's now wearing Ankara fabric. Now everybody's going to be wearing Ankara fabric. Why were we not wearing Ankara fabric in the first place?
Because you needed someone to do that. Okay, so that's what you like. Now, the next one is I hate it when South Africans do what?
When we are mean to each other and when we don't look after each other.
How are we mean?
We are very mean to each other, especially I find the women, and this is going to be so awkward, but the people who take tax money sometimes don't take us seriously, and that really bothers me. And as a young person, I feel like, especially the opinion leaders, and I know a lot of these people should really sit together and think of something to do like what was done in the past, because now the situation has changed, but it's kind of still the same. And I need to obviously kind of become more knowledgeable in this before I can speak more about it. But I see that happening. And then there's women being mean to each other, which is really unnecessary. Women need to stand together and take each other seriously and stop competing with each other and stop dating people who are married. It's really unnecessary. That's what the things that I hate when South Africa. I think it's more like anywhere in the world, I guess. But for me, I wanted to start at home.
Okay, so you have a chance to meet the President Zuma for a day, but you set the agenda. What would you set on the agenda?
Wow, I'd set single mothers, in the agenda, and what we're going through, because I'm really, really learning more and more about that and how difficult it is. And obviously what I just spoke about earlier, the whole recycling issue. The world we live in is not inherited from people who were here before. We're borrowing it from our children. And I'd hate to see my grandchildren living in a world that doesn't have trees, that doesn't have water, that doesn't have air. And we're not the biggest country, we're not the richest country, but we can certainly make a difference.
So you'll raise all those issues, right?
Who's
your favorite politician? Karen, and don't say Mandela, because he's retired.
No, he's not a politician anymore. Trevor Manuel. He's kind of hot.
He's quite hot.
He's kind of hot, yeah. Okay. And he's very smart, and I like the way he talks. And when he speaks, he just makes sense to me. And yeah, I wish he was my dad.
Well, someone wonder what your family thinks about that. Some of the questions. So ask you guys, how do I say hi when I see her somewhere without making her feel this is too much attention? Do I say hi or just shut my big mouth? And it comes from someone called a champ who probably should know what to do anyway.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just say hi.
Okay, so it's an interesting one. I mean, he obviously sees you in public and he wants to know, well, what does he do?
You can just greet me. Like, just be cool, man. Don't be like trying to be awesome. Just trying to be cool and greet a lady like you would greet any other lady. I'm not special. You see me in a box now and again that flashes like different kind of lights. So just say hi, please.
Talk to me about that. I mean, just the importance of the public.
Sometimes I don't want to take pictures. Sometimes I just want to be alone. I want to go into Checkers just like I did before and buy what I want to buy and leave. And be greeted just like any other customer. But I also have to recognize the importance of it's the people who are watching, not even the SABC, who can get me out. If they're like, she's boring, we don't like her, or she's awful, SABC is here to please the public and make them happy. So I need to make sure that I make those people happy because they are actually the reason I have a job. And I'm not better than them. I'm not more important. We are equals in this thing. I'm an entertainer and you receive what I am being kind of mandated to give as an entertainer or a performer. And I need to appreciate your value in the system because without you, there actually wouldn't be this system. And I wouldn't be getting paid because who's going to be putting the advertising space and who's going to give, my production company money to pay me because it's for them.
Okay. So that complex answer, by the way, tells people that fans are important. I mean, ultimately. That's what you
they're
really
the most important people.
Right. We'll talk lots more to Pearl Thusi up to about 3:45. There's lots of people wanting to SMS, and I understand that. I'll read all of those in just a second. 34701, 34701. 1. It's going to cost you 2 rands, and then if you're wanting to tweet me, Ashraf Garda 1. Right, Pearl Thusi with me. Lots of people asking other questions, and I'll do that in just a second. But okay, I want to pick up on some of the other things for you. What for you is your unfinished business? How do you mean? It's such an open statement. What's unfinished in your life?
I think the loss of my mother. Mm-hmm. It was very unfinished. It was death by me trying to be crying now. My mother passed away. It was on I think it was a Friday. I was coming from a fitting, and somebody asked me that day and said, what's wrong with your mother? I was like, she's in ICU. Very chilled. Like I was 15, whatever. My mother can't die. I said that the same day, and she died. And it was a very, very sobering thing. And I think somebody spoke to me and said, "You still sometimes I take a while to do things," and I thought it was because I'm a perfectionist. But she read it as me trying. I'm still waiting for her for approval and for "you're awesome, thank you, I love you." So I think that's one unfinished thing. I was promising to see her. I tried to go and see her that day. My dad said, "Don't go." I think she'd already passed on, and he didn't tell me. So I never went to see her. And
really?
Yeah, that kills me death. It's just a very painful thing that I should have gone to see her. A part of me wonders, would she have woken up? I didn't know how sick she was. She died there alone, and yeah.
Well, it gives us a nice insight into your emotional situation. Indeed.
My daughter doesn't have a grandmother now. It's just like, it's difficult. So yeah. Anyway, that's my unfinished business.
Okay, something rather bizarre. Talk to me about this Facebook rapist. What does all that mean?
Oh wow. Apparently, according to my lawyers, it's been concluded, and I never went to go and see apparently what this guy says. There were bodies. Just what happened was I was supposed to be emceeing an event. I get just like bombarded by police, and they're taking me for question. I'm like, can I finish my job quickly? Yeah. I need this money. I'm a single mother. Listen. And I was worried about how that was going to affect my career all in all. Like, who's going to work with a lady who knows where dead bodies are? Do you know what I mean? And that was apparently as well.
Did they let you finish the job?
No. They took me straight there, and there's something it's something I don't know if I can say on air, just about how I was treated there. It's very
well. Tell us. We'd love to know.
I was threatened to be constrained for crying.
Oh.
Yeah, I was threatened. My phone was taken away from me. They said I can't call anyone. A lot of awkward things.
Have you ever picked it up as an issue now that you need to get off your chest? Well, you are getting it off your chest anyway.
Yeah, I'm just dating things right now. I don't want to, because I think sometimes it's a time. See, there's a strategy there as well. Let certain things pass first, and then attend to other things afterwards. There's just a way to do things, and I'm planning to address that one day. I just don't feel like today is that day or anytime soon.
Okay, which was the best day in your life? And I mean professionally.
Wow.
But there must be one day. We all have good days, but if we can say one day, wow.
Okay, wow. I think the beginning, when I was just first princess at Miss S18, but that meant so much to me. Wow, there's so many.
So you have many good days. That's
fantastic. When I think about Miss S18, I've got good memories. That was the beginning. That's where God really said, He held my hand and said, "Let's go. We're going to go together." And that's what it's always. I remember when I was answering the question, I just become a proper Christian that time when I understood what being Christian is. So he asked me the question. I stumbled as I tried to answer, and then there was just silence, and I just saw clouds. And then all of a sudden, I didn't remember. I had to go home and watch a tape to listen to what I said. I couldn't remember what on earth I said.
At least we know it's not contrived. Because, that's been the argument, isn't it, with beauty competitions, beauty pageants, to say, this whole thing is a doctor, I'm going to save the world. And that sort of thing. So
I don't remember what I said. I had to go watch home. But now I remember what I said.
Okay, well. What, other thoughts? your favorite hangout when you're not working?
Home.
Just at home?
Just at home. I'm always out. So the best place for me to be is at home with my dogs, with my daughter. I feel like I have to schedule being a mother, and that's not cool. So whenever I can be at home, I'm at home. That's my favorite hangout. But generally, I love a place called Tinswalo. It's very chilled, very quiet, very beautiful, very serene. I like that place.
And that's what you do. All right. we were discussing it earlier on. I mean, Women's Month just about coming to an end, right? Do you think Women's Month or Women's Day furthers the agenda of women in the country, or in fact takes it away because it puts a lot of focus on one day or 1 month, and in many ways implies that, okay, when the month is over, it's like the holiday season's over, so okay, we'll talk about it next year.
Yeah. I think I read a letter, an open letter. I always forget this lady's name, Susan or Helen. I don't remember, which is bad. But she spoke about how the emphasis on women, and, you know, there's always be like for women and the disabled. Why are women being grouped as disabled? Women do so much for this country. So I think there's a positive and a negative. It does highlight them a lot during this month. And there's a lot of money put into the gimmicks and, you know, marketing it. And I think it's just a positive and a negative. It makes women feel good for that month. It brings a lot of money to a lot of artists who have to go and host and perform. Awesome, you know, for a lot of them. But that money that was used to and this is very simplistic, obviously, because I'm just watching, but the money that was used to market it and book a venue to treat women beautifully could have been the same money that could have been used to, you know, like I said, single women to take their children to school, or to plant more trees, or whatever really affects them, like practical stuff. Like the money could have been built to use a school, the money that disappears from, you know, national funds, that, you know, like it's the same thing for me. So I think it's beautiful, but I don't want to be grouped with disabled people, because that just means it's a disability for me to be a woman. Why isn't there a men's month? Is it because they're fine, they're okay, they don't need it?
Would you want a men's month? Would you push for it? Men's Day, something like that.
Maybe a Men's Day is also important because men are struggling to lead this country. And this is my honest opinion. I even got into trouble with the Facebook rapists because I felt like, hey, at church they always talk about helping men because they're the leaders of this nation. Let me try and help this guy. And then look what it got me into. But then, you know, there's fathers just disappearing. I think they need a men's month more than women. Women stick by their kids.
Maybe it's a responsibility,
really.
Mothers. On that day, what do you actually do? What is your role really as men, as opposed to celebrating for you? What an autobiography, I mean, it's still early days maybe, but I mean, if you had to have one, what would you title it?
Ooh, wow.
Okay, you think about that one.
I titled it The Black Pearl.
The Black Pearl.
Yes.
Okay. By the way, the Black Panther was Eusebio, I think, who played soccer for Mozambique or Portugal. In fact,
nice.
That's another story completely. Who would you absolutely love to take out to lunch? You haven't yet done it with that person, but you'd love to.
Oh, wow. Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep.
I'd take her out for anything she needed to be taken out for.
She's that good, isn't she?
If she wanted to do her hair, needed a ride, I'm there. Yeah, Meryl Streep is the one. She's, yeah.
A South African in your field that you admire, you know, so in TV and acting and modeling.
A peer or somebody older?
Well, in whatever. In this country, it doesn't matter what the age is. You know?
She's somebody very close to my heart. It's Basetsana Kumalo.
Okay.
She is a mentor to me. She's like a mother to me. She calls me her baby. I call her mother. She's been somebody who, of all the people I admire, has been there practically for me at times I needed. There was a time where, this is weird that I'm saying it on air. You're getting things out of me. There was a time when it was around the World Cup time. My grandmother died, my aunt died, and then my grandmother died. But at the time my aunt died, I had to go home. Had been in a car accident. I was broke. I didn't have money, and I needed to get to Durban for this funeral. Somebody else wouldn't help me, and so I said, okay, you know what? She offered to drive. She had to go for a wedding, so we were going to drive down together with my daughter. Then she couldn't drive down; she was going to do something else. In my email arrived 2 plane tickets for my daughter and myself.
Wow, and you haven't forgotten that. Huh?
I will never forget that. Like, that properly made me cry. And then there was a car she even hired for us to get there. So I've got a good person in my life. I don't care what you say about Basi when you don't like her. That is my mother. And I've had to adopt a lot of mothers because I don't have one right now. And she's been one of them.
Indeed. Well, now we know we've got probably about a minute and a half or so to go. A couple of things. A book that you've read that you'd love to recommend?
It's one of the first thick novels I read from cover to cover as a kid. It was in grade 9, The Power of One.
The Power of One.
Yeah, by Bryce Courtney. I love that man's books. I wish he wasn't Australian now, all of a sudden. And it's a book about a young boy with this little rooster. I had chickens. I read chickens when I was a kid. We didn't buy chicken at home. I made them. And so I made them. So that book, I really connected with the kid in the book.
Okay,
as I was
great
young.
stuff. Have you ever been mistaken for somebody else?
Yeah, all the time.
Who?
Joanne Strauss or Pumeza Dluati.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we know, right? So now we
In
top
France,
Billy person.
Beyonce when I was in France.
Really?
Believe it or not.
I can understand that. And those are not bad comparisons at all, right?
No.
Probably the last thing that I have to ask you, and give us a quote that you can inspire us with. Is it a quote that works for you?
It was also the first quote I heard. It's amazing today. Action without a vision is I did what a fail. Action without a vision is merely wasting time. Vision without action is just dreaming, but vision with action can change the world.
Okay, so action is important, but you must dream it as well. Have that vision. Well, it's been great chatting to you, indeed, and thanks for allowing us to put you in the spotlight.
Thank you so much. I was so happy to be here.
It's a pleasure.
Too
And go out and achieve, indeed. There you are. Pearl, Thusi, lots more I'm sure we'll talk about it. We'll probably put it as a podcast in the next couple of days, probably by tomorrow or so. So check it out on the safm.co.za website.